Hey y'all, it's Tim Miller from the Bulwark. During Trump's speech in Georgia this weekend, dude lost his mind on the Republican governor of the state, Brian Kemp, and his wife, in addition to congratulating Putin. A very weird performance from Donald Trump. And let's just back up and kind of make you understand what exactly is happening here. You'd think in a general election, Donald Trump would want everybody in the Republican Party on his side, particularly the elected popular Republican governor of the state, Brian Kemp. Brian just won re-election in 2022. He's been successful in a state that Donald Trump has lost. Donald Trump still has hurt feelings on his little fifis are still hurt at Brian Kemp because of 2020 when he felt like Kemp and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger did not succumb to his pressure, to his efforts to overturn the election. Remember, he called Raffensperger asking for the 11,000 some odd votes. Tonight he mentions with Kemp, he tried to pressure him to sign some sort of petition, discharge petition maybe of some kind, that would have allowed the Georgia legislature to try to create more troubles. And his bitterness over this, his bitterness over the fact that Brian Kemp was a rare Republican to stand his ground, has led to this lash out 4 years later in a must-win state for him. You would think that in a must-win state, you just maybe let bygones be bygones. Maybe just don't even mention Brian Kemp, right? If you can't bring yourself to be a bigger man and invite him to the rally or whatever, what a normal politician would do, at least you would have the intelligence or strategic acumen to not mention him. No, obviously not our Donald Trump, not our malignant narcissist Donald Trump, not our psycho Donald Trump. So here's what happened. Before the speech, he sends out a bleat about Brian Kemp. Let's look at that. Here it is. Brian Kemp should focus his efforts on fighting crime, not fighting unity in the Republican Party. He goes on to talk about how the crime rate in Georgia is terrible, how he should be seeking unity. Then he takes a swipe at his wife. He said, he and his wife didn't think he could win, I guess, during the election. I don't know why he brings the wife into it there. And then he tells some story where apparently he claims that Brian Kemp's wife called him sir. Thank you, sir. We'll never be able to make it up to you. And then now he brings up why he's doing this, because she has said she won't endorse him and is going to write in Brian Kemp's name. Well, I don't want her endorsement and I don't want his. So instead of even just attacking Brian Kemp, he also goes after his wife. Just as a general matter of things, going after fellow Republicans' wives. I guess that worked out for Trump in 2016, but generally speaking, not the right strategic play. Okay, so you think maybe he just got it all out of his system on his social media feed? No. During the speech tonight, he attacked him on 4 separate occasions.
Atlanta is like a killing field, and your governor ought to get off his ass and do something about it. Vote here in Atlanta, you suffered the highest inflation of any city in the country last year. Good job, Governor. Great job, Governor. But Kemp doesn't want to end it because he's a bad guy, he's a disloyal guy, and he's a very average governor. Little Brian Kemp. Bad guy. But think of it. I got this guy, just think, and then that's it. I got this guy nominated, I then got him elected. Without me, he doesn't get nominated and he doesn't get elected. He had no chance of winning either one, and all he had to do is sign something where the Senate would like to look at election integrity. This is an honest man. That's an honest man. They were all honest. They were looking at something very legitimate. And this bad guy said, I'm sorry, sir. I can't do it. I called him and I said, Brian, they're looking at election integrity. Is there anything you can do? I'm sorry, sir. I can't get involved in that. I said, but Brian, you don't understand. This is a good thing, not a bad thing. I'm sorry, sir. I can't get involved. I've had you up to here, Brian. I've had you up to here. He's a bad guy, and he's not doing this country a good service. So I did these 2 big rallies, and he won. He did win. He won by like 2%. And his wife looked at me and said, thank you, sir. We'll never, ever be able to repay you for what you did. You got my husband the nomination. And then we beat somebody who was unbeatable. You know, she was, in theory, unbeatable. She was the hottest politician in the country at the time. Democrat politician, I would say I was hotter because I was president. So I was hotter now. I'm only kidding, Marjorie. I'm only kidding. Although maybe I'm not kidding, actually. No, she was like the hottest, certainly the hottest Democrat politician in the country. And she was going wild for years. She's still going wild. She can't even believe it. But I got him by doing massive rallies. And I really worked hard. He's the most disloyal guy I think I've ever seen. But think of the wife. We can never repay you for what you've done, sir. We could have never won. And now she said 2 weeks ago that I will not endorse him because he hasn't earned my endorsement. I haven't earned her endorsement. I have nothing to do with her. Somewhere he went bad. And you know what? Your numbers in Georgia are very average. Your crime numbers, your economic numbers, all of your numbers, you're very average. You can do a lot better, and you'll do a lot better with a better governor. You can do a lot better, just so you understand.
He called him Little Brian. He complained about how he didn't help him overturn the election. He tells him to get off his ass and do something about crime. He says he's a bad guy several times. He attacks Kemp's wife again a number of times from stage, saying he doesn't want their endorsement. Again, you would think you would want his vote. I mean, in 2022, Brian Kemp won on the same ballot that Herschel Walker lost. So there's some voters out there, clearly in Georgia, that like Brian Kemp, that are happy to vote for a Democrat if the Republican is crazy or extreme or weird enough, like Herschel Walker. And those voters you would think would be prime target voters for Trump, but instead he's pushing them away, saying he doesn't want their endorsement, is reminiscent of Carrie Lake telling McCain voters to get the hell out before she lost her election. And I think maybe had some regrets over the fact that she didn't invite McCain voters in. The only bad news about all this, the most depressing part of this, is Brian Kemp sent a tweet out responding to Trump, and his tweet said that he's focused on winning in November and saving our country from Kamala Harris. All right, bro. So he comes after your wife, comes after you, tries to steal an election, says he wants to terminate the Constitution, and you're worried about Kamala Harris. I don't even know what to do with these people. The rest of the speech, the rest of the Trump speech in Georgia was not normal by any means. It began with a lengthy attack on the host university, Georgia State University, saying that they did not give him the setup that he wanted, and that they weren't allowing the right number of people in, and that was part of a complaint about how Kamala was allowed to have more people, and maybe it was because that she had Megan Thee Stallion there, though Trump couldn't remember her name.
She was here a week ago, lots of empty seats, but the crowd she got was because she had entertainers. But the school administration stopped us from getting another 500, 600, even 1,000 people in. Thousands of people were told no, and that was okay, but we could have fit another 600 people. So I don't know anything about the school. I don't know anything about this school, but they could have allowed more people. You got people standing outside. Look at all the people outside. They could have come in. They could have come in. So we're not happy. Hello out there. And then they actually pushed the people very far away from the building where we have beautiful cameras set up for the overflow crowds, the administration of the school. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be sending anybody to the school. I'm not happy about it. School people allow, there's some seats right up there. They could let them come in. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. Let the people come in. They're standing outside, thousands of them. Let them come in. It's obviously, Marjorie, a very liberal school, I guess, right? I'm not happy with the school. Let them come in. They're standing. It's 95 degrees out. Let them come in. There's some seats. And they got thousands of people. They won't let them in. A Harris presidency. You know why? Because they don't want to show that we're successful. That's all it is. They don't want to show. She has to go get entertainers. They start leaving as soon as she opens her mouth.
Again, you don't generally start a speech with a lengthy period of complaining about the host university that has allowed you to come speak there, and also that presumably you would want some of the people that go to the school or work at the school to vote for you. Generally, you don't start by just insulting everyone, but that's what Donald Trump did. And he ties that to the big lie And immediately, before even getting into any issues, talks about how he was cheated in 2022.
If they're going to stand in the way of admitting people to our rally, just imagine what they're going to do on Election Day. We're not going to let that happen.
Advancing the election lie that led to the attack on the Capitol. And then a lengthy discussion of how to pronounce Kamala's name, where he mispronounces it.
Because of Fani, F-A-N-I, Fani. You have to pronounce it Fani. It's called Fanny. You have to pronounce Fani. I don't know how she gets. She should add a little U in there someplace if she wants people to call her.
So that's how the speech begins. As I mentioned at the top, he said, and I quote, "I want to congratulate Vladimir Putin."
I'd like to congratulate Vladimir Putin for having made yet another great deal.
On what I guess he thinks was a good deal, a good hostage negotiation. We debunked this in another video in the feed that you can go watch. Chris Murphy rightly pointed out that all of Trump's, this is just sour grapes, all of Trump's deals with Putin and deals with other hostages all, included other trades, including one where he gave up like hundreds of people to the Houthis who are currently attacking us in the Red Sea. Then he says some lie about how Kamala doesn't want people to say Merry Christmas.
Ready? The two words are Merry Christmas. She doesn't want anybody saying Merry Christmas.
She says Merry Christmas all the time. Then he does a lie. We have another video about this if you want to hear more about the boxer, the Algerian boxer that's everyone's obsessed with on the MAGA right.
But now all you have to do is look at the boxers. This young girl from Italy, a champion boxer, she got hit so hard she didn't know what the hell hit her. It's a person that transitioned. He was a good male boxer. Yeah, he was a good male boxer. And she didn't even go down.
He talks about how this woman transitioned, which is not true. She was born a woman and grew up as a woman, obviously in Algeria. They don't have transitioning in Algeria. And then also calls her a man, which is not true. So those are just some of the lowlights from the Trump speech. The intro speeches were not much more normal. They included Marjorie Taylor Greene. Why you would invite this person? Again, you're in Atlanta. Aren't you trying to appeal to these suburban swing voters? Apparently not. I guess you're trying to repulse them by pointing out that Marjorie Taylor Greene is not only welcome, but is your opening act, while Brian Kemp is unwelcome and insulted, and Mrs. Kemp is unwelcome and insulted. Interesting strategy. And then there was some white guy with a thick accent. I didn't really take the time to learn who this guy was. He was, in his opening speech, was comparing Kamala to Milli Vanilli.
It reminds me of the group Milli Vanilli. Do y'all remember Milli Vanilli? It was two guys. They were, claimed to be R&B German artists, even though they had British accents, and they were born in Madrid or something like that. But sound a little bit like Kamala. But what was funny is they fooled the country for about 4 years with their entertainment. They couldn't sing, they couldn't write, they had zero talent. But it took 4 years for everybody to figure out who they really were. Milli Vanilli is what we have in the White House right now.
He strongly implies that Kamala is not from America because Milli Vanilli, in his rendering, lied about what country they were from. I don't remember that. My only memory of Milli Vanilli controversy was about the lip syncing. Maybe he is deeper in the Milli Vanilli lore than I am. Don't know what progress they think that they made out with that speech, but that was a Saturday. And if I had to spend an hour or two of my Saturday watching that lunacy, well, you at least get to hear about it. Make sure to subscribe to the feed. We'll be back with more. We're obviously continuing to wait for Kamala's VP selection. Word on the street is that Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania and Tim Walz of Minnesota are headed down to meet with her privately tomorrow. So probably won't be seeing any news on that till Monday, but keep an eye on the feed, and we'll see y'all then. Subscribe. Peace.